Hi everybody, so this is an hour-long bump plan class. So it's a combination of low impact cardio and Pilates. We'll be alternating between the two, and the class is safe for you no matter where you are in your pregnancy. So right at the start, right at the end. We've got somebody at 39 weeks, so Sam, well done. So safe for you no matter where you are, as long as you've got no contraindications to exercise. Make sure you've got some water nearby, and I will remind you to take sips, which seems really patronising, but at least then we all just know what we're dealing with. And listen to your body, don't get too hot, rest if you need it, but otherwise just common sense really, see how you feel as you go. But if you're ready, let's get started. So we're going to start with a warm-up first of all. We're going to start by marching on the spot. Arms are nice and loose down by the sides of your body, and you can start off relatively low, relatively easy at first. Maybe you've been sat at a laptop all day, or maybe you've been sat watching The Crown all day, whatever it is, just ease yourself in. And maybe this is the first time today that you've even thought about how your body feels. So whilst we're doing our warm-up, it's a great time to just start thinking about how your body feels, doing a bit of a body scan and working out how's your energy levels and how's your body feeling. Now, we're starting off really low at first, but I do want you to exaggerate the movement at your ankle. So we point and flex, point and flex. And that's to really start getting your calves working, okay, which is really going to help move fluid from the ankles and the feet. So those of you who are like me, who get really swollen ankles and feet during pregnancy, that's really helpful. But also to get that back line working, so get those calves fired up. Now start to take those knees a touch higher. If you've got a bump, you're going to need some turnout. So take those legs out to the side, lovely. And we can start to pick up the pace a little bit as well. Good. So tonight we're going to be alternating, like I said, between low impact cardio and Pilates. If you're in your first trimester or you're still happy jogging, jumping, I'll also give you some more impactful options, because there's not really anything wrong with bouncing around. It's just not always that comfortable on your chest or your pelvic floor. And we'll be alternating that with Pilates. Now, during the cardio sections, I want you to aim for a moderate intensity. That means that you can still talk, okay? It might be breathy, but you'd still be able to talk. Or if we thought of a scale of 1 to 10, and 10 is you at the end of a marathon, you're aiming a 6 or a 7, yeah? Now, can we take the legs any higher, any faster? We should be starting to feel the breath rate increase. Good, and we're just going to do another 5 seconds here, and 3, and 2, and 1, and change. Now into some squats, ideally in parallel hip width. You can go sumo if you want to. You're going to inhale to squat, exhale to stand, inhale sit, and exhale stand. So the reason I've mentioned ideally you want to do this in parallel is we really do want to build strength in neutral, okay? And during pregnancy, there's quite a tendency for us to love hanging out in turnout. So then we don't really want to do more turnout. But if you've got a big bump, parallel squats are not always that easy. You've not got a huge amount of space. So if you need to do wide sumo squats, that's fine. Think about what you're looking like from the side. So can we try and keep the spine nice and neutral? Okay, so we're not keeping the chest lifted. That's a cue I hear a lot, but look what it does to the shape of your back. And in pregnancy, we're already more likely to end up in extension, okay? We're going to do 2 more of these, 1 more, and then we change. Feet as wide as is comfortable for your pelvis in parallel, hands in prayer, and into a skater stretch. So 1 leg bent, 1 leg straight. Remember that during pregnancy and we're stretching, it should be enjoyable. It shouldn't be progressive. So it's all about maintenance during pregnancy. You're already going to be a little bit more flexible because of your hormones. So we should be able to smile and breathe and enjoy the stretch. Final 3 and 2 and 1 and change. Feet are touched closer, hands on your shoulders, nice big circles here. Just open up those chests. So if you have been at your laptops or driving all day, this should feel lovely. If it feels awful, you need to do it more. And try not to move your spine. Try and stay neutral and move the arm in the shoulder. One more, and then reverse it. Other direction. Lovely. And let's just do 3 more. 2 and 1, and then shake it out. Lovely. Feet hip width apart. Last exercise in your warm-up here is just single calf raises. So just get those ankles moving again. When you're doing this, can we keep the hips relatively still, or are we doing a bit of this? So can we try and keep the movement in the ankle rather than up here in the lower back? Good. Hopefully you guys are warmer, because I am. Final 3 and 2 and 1. Give the ankles a rotate. One direction and then the other. And then have a quick rest and have a quick sip of water for me. Lots of small sips throughout the class. Even if you're at that stage where you feel like you're needing a wee constantly, please don't hold off on any water. So we're going to be going into our first round of cardio now. It'll be 2 exercises and I'll demo them first. If you want to practice them while I demo them, you can, but then we'll start all together. So the first exercise is going to be a curtsy lunge. So I'll show you from 2 angles. I'm at the front of my mat in turnout. I'm going to curtsy, then push through the front leg, and then curtsy and push through the front leg. And I'm alternating each time. And can you see that I'm hinging forwards enough to stay neutral? So none of this and none of this. And then from the front, okay, I'm still in turnout. Now, if you've got pelvic girdle pain, and turnout is not nice for you, just do regular parallel lunges, okay? Second exercise will be floor to ceiling. So we're pretty much preparing for motherhood here. We're going to imagine we're picking something up off the floor like a child and then reaching them up into the air. Again, with your squats, we can do them in parallel or we can do it in sumo, but you want that nice neutral spine as you hinge, yeah? So when you're ready, front of your mat for curtsy lunges, alternating each leg each time. We're going to go in 3, 2, 1. So we curtsy, push through your front leg. Curtsy, push through the front leg. So we're hinging forwards so we don't overuse our back muscles here. They're already doing a lot of the work at carrying the weight of your bump. So we want to hinge forwards. It also helps us load up the front leg. That's going to help you fire up your glute. And again, if turnout is something that aggravates your pelvic girdle pain, you can do this in parallel and just do regular lunges. Let's do 1 more each leg. Last one, floor to ceiling. So we reach down as if we're reaching for the floor and we come up and touch the ceiling. So floor to ceiling, it really does what it says on the tin. Didn't take me long to come up with the name of that. And it's a nice neutral spine, okay? So we're still hinging. Play around with your squats if you do have pelvic girdle pain. It should never be uncomfortable. So even if it means reducing the depth, changing the position of your foot, we've got 2 more, 1 more, and then rest. And just keep moving for me. Walk around the room, have some water. Think about where you were on your scale of 1 to 10. If it's too easy, you can start thinking about adding in weights. So 1 or 2 kilogram dumbbells, or, you know, maybe not a dog, but something you've got nearby that's a bit heavy. If it was too much, just slow it down second time, okay? But you should sound a bit like me. I sound a bit breathy, but I can definitely talk to you. Now, whilst we catch our breath, before we do that a second time, we're going into a toner. So come to the middle of your mat, and I just want you to find neutral posture. Now, this does not mean that neutral is king or perfect, but for now, I'd like you to stand with your feet hip width and parallel. I want the knees soft, so not bent, but definitely not locked out. The pelvis, imagine it's a bowl of water you don't want to spill. During pregnancy, there's a tendency to either go this way, which I did, or this way. Try and stay neutral here. Think about the rib cage like a bowl that's upside down. Can you stack it above the bowl of the pelvis? So ribs on top of pelvis, arms are by your side, and your eye line is straight ahead. So In neutral, we usually all feel a lot taller and we lose some of the deep curves that can be created during pregnancy, yeah? Now, once you've found that, arms up to cactus position, shoulders at 90, elbows at 90. Have a look at those arms. If you were in a toaster, other than your bump, would anything get burnt? So would your hands get burnt? Are you quite tight through the pec? Would the elbows get burnt? Are you also quite tight through the chest? Or are you leaning back? Now from here, we're going to inhale to rotate the arms so the palms face the floor. Then exhale, come back to the start position. Inhale, rotate the palms face down. Exhale, rotate the palms face forwards. And then if you'd like to, it's quite nice to just rock from foot to foot so we don't cool down too much. Standing still during pregnancy is not always that enjoyable. Now, in this exercise, the movement should be coming from the shoulder joint, okay, not from your spine. It's really easy to compensate here. I really want you to think about opening the chest as you take those hands back. And the reason it's important to do this during pregnancy is imagine what our lives are like when our babies are here. We spend a lot of time shoulders forwards and rounded. We've got to make sure we balance that out with strength in the opposing muscles. So focus on the turning back, okay? So the rotation back. Good. Just watch you're not finding another cheat. There's always some cheats, isn't there? Moving your wrist is a cheat. Try and keep the wrist neutral. And we're just going to do 3 more of these. Last 2. Lovely. Last one. Can we meet back in cactus and hold? Have a look at those arms again. Imagine you're in a toaster and you don't want to burn your elbows or the front of your hand. Little pulses here. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Now, some of you really might find it's difficult to get into that toaster. If that's you, you need to do this exercise more. Okay. Final 4, 3, 2, last one. Hold it there. And then relax and give your shoulders a wiggle. Now, if you wanted to do this afterwards, which I can see some of you are doing, great. It shows you you're strengthening muscles that stop you doing that. And that's why you're trying to stretch them out. Second time, those same 2 exercises. So remember, we've got curtsy lunge, but if you didn't like it, do parallel. Floor to ceiling. If you do want to add in something that's heavy nearby and you didn't feel it in your back first time, then that's an option for you. So front of your mat. Legs in, turn out from the hip. Don't just turn the foot, turn the whole leg out. We're going to go in 3, 2, 1. So we curtsy, push through the front foot, curtsy, push through the front foot. So it's a lunge in turn out position. Yeah. We can think about the shape of our spines here by thinking about the distance between the ribs and the hips at the front. If the distance is staying the same as we lunge, then we're staying in neutral, okay, if you start in neutral. So basically try not to move the ribs and hips away from each other as you lunge. 5 seconds left. Lovely. We're going to do 3 and 2, 1 more, and floor to ceiling. Reach down, pick up your imaginary weight, and then reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Lovely. So we're getting into the habit of picking up things off the floor with good technique, which again is going to be our life on the other side. So once the babies are here, we will need to pick up comforters, pick up babies, pick up car seats. 5 seconds left. And final 3, 2, 1, and rest. And again, just have a walk around, have a quick sip of water for me. And evaluate, where were you on your scale of 1 to 10? Could you work harder? Or do you maybe need to rein it in a touch? Now, we're going to go into our first round of Pilates. And we're going to do this in standing because that's so functional, because a lot of the time we are in standing, especially when the babies are here. And if anyone's planning a vaginal birth, we're going to want to try and stay upright and active to help that along. So I want you to come to the middle of your mats for me and take a moment to find that neutral position we talked about a moment ago. So feet, if you can see them, parallel, hip width apart. Can we pick up the toes and spread them, and then try and keep the weight spread equally between big toe, little toe and heel? Sounds really picky, but it's called a tripod foot, and it's really, really helpful here. So big toe, little toe, heel. Your knees are not locked. They're also not bent, they're just a bit soft. Get that bowl of water for the pelvis, and then get that rib cage stacked over the pelvis. Now hands into prayer position, and in theory, this will be a pretty neutral position with your spine, okay? So think about the shape you've just created with your back. We're gonna try and keep that the same. Now from here, imagine there's a wall a couple of inches behind your bum. I'd like you to start pushing the bum back towards that imaginary wall, and what that will start to encourage is a hip hinge, and then we're gonna go with it. We're gonna hip hinge, and we're gonna go as far as is comfortable for us, and then we're gonna hold. Now at the bottom here, I want you to check you've still got your tripod foot. So big toe, little toe, heel. Are the knees still soft? Is your back still neutral? So if you've got a big heavy bump, you're probably going to be ending up a bit here. So you'll have gone into extension. If you get backache, you might find that you're here because you're cautious, you're nervous. Ideally, we want to be neutral. Now from here, as you exhale, push your feet into the floor, slowly come all the way up to standing, just back to neutral. And then we do it again. We inhale to hip hinge, we push that bum back, exhale to push yourself back to standing to neutral. And we're going to keep this going. Inhale, hinge, and exhale, come back up. Now, this exercise is for your hamstrings and glutes. They've got a huge job as your bump gets heavier. Yeah, they stop the pelvis being pulled forwards by that bump. So really important during pregnancy. Some of you might find pretty quickly that actually it's your lower back that's tired. That would probably tell you your lower back is a bit overactive. Sometimes if your abs check out, somebody's got to do the work, so your back does it. So if you're finding your back is getting tired here, think about hugging your baby in using your abdominals a bit. That fires up your transverse muscle, your corset, okay? So you don't have the weight of your baby pulling on your lower back. You might also be going into this position, so it might be worth a little bit of a tuck just to give you some support. We're going to do 3 more of these. Hopefully there's none of that lower back tension though, because the technique's lovely, hamstrings and glutes are doing their job in an ideal world. Now on the next one, we're just going to come out halfway. So stop on the 45-degree angle, hold it there for a moment. Now this is a really common mum position. Every time we're changing nappies, going to pick them up, bathing them, looking in the cot, we're in this position. We've got to be good at it. Are your knees still soft? Are your glutes on here? I want you to really think about almost cracking a nut in your bum crack. Have you got a nice neutral lower back? If it's taking over, you may need to tuck slightly. Yeah? You can always use your abdominals to support that lower back. And then when you're done, push yourselves back up, have a quick wiggle, have a quick shake out. And then again, just think, where did I feel that most? It shouldn't have been the lower back. And you can always stay and chat to me at the end if it was. Now come back to the middle of your mat, come back to standing in neutral. On your next exhale, I'd like you to lift your arms up overhead and then just hold them there a second. Now, I've not really cued you anything for this. So some of us, when we lifted our arms, will have done this. We will have let the rib cage come with us, and we're probably going to be in a bit of extension. I want you to instead try and stay neutral. So think of the rib cage stacking directly above the pelvis, yeah? So the abdominals are going to be slightly on, and then keep that position. Inhale, lower the arms, and then exhale, lift them again. Inhale to lower them, and exhale to lift them. So we're trying to move our arms without the rest of the body following. And it doesn't mean that when you do this outside of class that you have to stay in neutral. I don't want you to all end up being robots, but for this exercise, if we stay neutral here, we're going to be doing some low-level abdominal work, okay? Because it's the core that is stopping us doing this and moving with the arms, okay? So staying neutral, we're going to activate the core. Now I'm going to keep making this exercise harder. If it gets to a point where you don't feel safe, you can always go back to the option before. We're going to do one more. We're going to finish with the arms by the side. We're going to exhale to come up onto tiptoes. So if you need your arms out for balance, that's fine. Inhale, lower the heels down. Exhale, both heels up, and inhale, both heels down. So we're in a double calf raise, wobbly enough even when you're not pregnant. Okay, so see how you feel. The tendency here, similar to the arm movement we just did, is to do a bit of this. Okay, I'm obviously exaggerating, but trying to counterbalance. And also that's really common during pregnancy. Because of that constant change in centre of gravity, we then start leaning back, and that's why lots of us get backache during pregnancy. Or can we instead try and stay neutral here? So as we come up and down, keep the rib cage stacked over the pelvis. Lovely, let's just do 2 more of these. 1 more, so I'm going to make it harder again. We're going to add the arms back in. So it's arms and legs and both back down. Again, if you feel too wobbly, feel free to go back to the option before. But now we're having to think even more about those front abdominals stopping us from doing this. When we do this, the abs have stretched, and they're already stretching during pregnancy. So during this exercise, let's not make that even more stretched. And we're going to do 4 more like this. Lovely. 3 again, you do not have to do the next option if you don't want to. Last 2. So next option, we come up and then we hold it up here. We stay on tiptoes, keep the arms here, check your positioning, then carry on just with your calf raises, leaving the arms overhead. Okay, so we're still trying to keep that rib cage down whilst lifting and lowering. How are the calves feeling? And from the front, what are the ankles doing? Are they doing this? Are they doing this? Let's try and keep them neutral if you can. Good, there is only 1 more level left, I promise. So you don't have to do it. Next one, come up and stay. Keep the heels lifted and just move the arms. Okay, so we're staying into this calf raise now. And if you think about the last couple of exercises, we've been working on warming up the whole back of the body here. And the postural chain, back of the body, is really the muscles that we need the most as our bumps get heavier. We're going to do 2 more. Lovely, 1 more. Let's all meet at the top. The arms are lifted, the heels are lifted. 3, 2, 1. Come down, relax the arms, and have a quick wiggle, a quick shake out, and a quick sip of water, because we're going into our second round of cardio in just a sec. So next 2 exercises, again, if you want to do them with me while I demo, you can. We've got Grapevine. So we'll start at one end of the mat. We sidestep back the way you came. You could add in a leap if you want to, and you could also put dumbbells in your hands if you wanted to make it harder. Second exercise is split punch. So you take your opposite arm, opposite leg out in front, bring them in, switch, switch, switch. So it's always opposite arm, opposite leg. If you're still happy jumping, there is no reason why you can't jump, jump, jump between the 2. But it depends how the chest and the pelvic floor feel for that. So if you're ready, we're going proper old school with Grapevine. So one end of the mat to the other in 3, 2, 1. So we sidestep, back the way we came, reach, reach, and then return. Now, if you've got pelvic girdle pain, you can do smaller steps and just go faster. If you're happy with a little jump and you fancy it, that's an option. And again, if you're super fit, you could add dumbbells in to the hands. And that's obviously going to be a great demand on the heart. Lovely. Could we go a touch faster? We've got 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and then it's opposite arm, opposite leg out in front for fast punch. So get your opposites. It does feel strange if it's same arm, same leg. Proper punches. So let's get really angry and take it out in class, so we don't get angry outside the class. And then if you are happy still jumping, there's no reason why you can't jump from one to the other. Okay. Now we've got just under 10 seconds left. Do we need to go a touch faster? Final 5, and 3, 2, 1, and rest. Have a wander around, have a sip of water. And again, just ask yourself, was it a bit too hard? And was it a bit too easy? Moderate intensity will look different for all of us, because it really depends what you went into pregnancy with. So you just think about what you need for moderate intensity. So for your toner, whilst we calm our breath down, we come back to the middle of the mat. And again, we're thinking about building up strength before this happens. So we're going to come to neutral, okay, or as close to neutral as is comfortable. Arms out to crucifix, palms down, and just hold it there a second. Elbows are soft, and I just want you to shrug and drop your shoulders a few times. Shrug and drop, and then stay there. If you're someone who finds that when you do arm work, your shoulders are like earrings up here, I would always do that first. Now from here, the palms are facing down. I want you to slowly rotate the arms now so the palms are facing up. And then have a look at the arms. Make sure you didn't just move your hand, move the whole arm in the shoulder socket. Then turn the palms back down, then turn them up. Down, up, and then keep that going. Focus on the up. Twist it up. So it's external rotation at the shoulder, which all of us need, but during pregnancy, it will really prep you for that newborn phase. So focus on the up. If you lock out your elbows, it's slightly limiting. So keep the elbows a bit soft. And then if you want to rock, you can do from one foot to the other. Lovely. So we should be feeling this in our deltoid. So the fleshy part of the shoulder, not up the sides of the neck. If you're having to do this with your head to relieve the tension, you need that shrug and drop, okay? And you probably need to do a bit more of this type of work. Good, almost there. If you've already got a child, I'm really sorry because the last thing you want to do is more arm work. Final 5, lovely, 3, 2, turn it up, hold it there for me. Have you turned all of the arm? Don't just turn the wrist. Do you feel that opening across the front of the shoulder that we don't get much of during the day? And then when you're done, you can relax and it should make you want to do this. And that's a good sign, remember, okay? You're building up strength that stops you doing that. Quick sip of water if you want it, then we've got those same 2 exercises again. So Grapevine first. What do you want to do differently this time to make it moderate intensity? So one into the mat, going in 3, 2, 1. So we sidestep, back the way you came, reach, and then returns. It's almost like you're dancing in a club. And if you want to, you can add a leap in if you're up for it. Remember, when it comes to bouncing around during pregnancy, the baby is great. Baby's cushioned. It's more about how it feels for your pelvic floor. Can your pelvic floor cope with the demand? And how does your chest feel? There's always a low impact option that will get you to moderate intensity. Final 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, change. So it's opposite arm, opposite leg, out in front. Let's get some energy through those arms. Again, so it's like you're punching a punch bag or somebody, however you're feeling. If you want to jump, that is an option here if you want it. Good. Do we need to go a touch faster? We've got 5 seconds left. And final, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Have a walk around, have a quick sip of water. And remember, if you have any questions during the class or something comes up and you think, oh, I've heard differently or I'm not sure about this, do stay and chat at the end and we can talk through any questions you might have. So, it's our second round of Pilates, and this time we are going to come down onto the floor. So first of all, if you have brought a cushion to put next to your mat, and put it near the head end, just so you don't have to get up and get back down again. And then move to the end of your mat, and just take a moment to reset. So find neutral, slow down your breath. We're going to take a nice big deep breath in, and as we exhale, we're going to do a roll down. So chin to chest, and then start peeling down. And go as low as is comfy for you. So at the bottom, if you've got a big bump, you might want your feet further apart, and that's fine, you can go with that. If it's just too much, you could always do this. You could have your hands on your knees and your knees a bit more bent, so you've got more space. But for most of us, this will be lovely because all those postural muscles that run up the back of the body that are carrying the weight of your bump throughout the day are now getting a chance to take a break. So give them a quick rest, hang here, Those of you who find you get backache that gets worse as the day goes on, I would do this before bed because it's probably same reason, just overloading of those postural muscles, and they get tired like the rest of us. Now from here, you're going to bend your knees enough that you can bring your hands to the floor, and then just take your time as you walk out to 4-point kneeling and meet me down here. So hands and knees. Now, carpal tunnel is more common during pregnancy. So some of you might find weight bearing on your hands is not that nice. Options, you could have your hands further forwards, so there's less crease in the back of the wrist. You could have your weight sat further back, so there's more weight going through the legs. Or you can have your hands in a fist. It's not ideal, okay, but it will be more comfortable. So feel free to tweak this start position. Now, keep your spine as neutral as you can manage here. Think about the rib cage stacking over the pelvis. If you've got maternity leggings on or very tight leggings, you might want to pull them down and let your tummy be free, okay? A lot of us during pregnancy will be bracing during the day. You know, our abdominals will be trying to support our bump whilst also lengthening. You've got to have a break every now and again. Let that bump be loose. And anyone who's trying to get their baby in the right position for a vaginal birth, this is also really good for you. Find your breath again. So with that relaxed tummy, just find the breath. Breathing in through your nose, breathing out through your mouth. Now I want you to imagine that you've got a zip running from your tailbone, past your pubic bone, past your belly button, and finishing in your sacrum, your sternum, so just at the top of your chest. Then I want you to visualize that vertical zip. Right now it's unzipped, yeah? So we're letting everything kind of hang out. We're going to take a nice big deep breath in, and then as you exhale, I'd like you to zip yourself up. So start zipping from the tailbone, past the pubic bone, up the tummy to the chest, and then inhale, unzip from the chest back to the tailbone. Do that again as you exhale. Visualize zipping yourself up from your tailbone to your chest, and then unzipping, and keep that going. Now, if you're thinking, I just don't know what she's asking me to do, you could think about closing the anus, vagina, urethra, and then hugging your baby in with your abs, and then reversing it and letting it go. Or we can imagine engaging our pelvic floor and then our transverse, our corset, and then letting it go. And if we have a look down, there should be some sort of visual reaction here. So we should be able to see that the bump is either rising and falling, or it's tightening slightly as we zip up. We're going to do 2 more of these. Now this is essentially engaging your core. So anytime I ask you to engage your core, this is what I'm asking you to do. It's that gentle engaging of your pelvic floor and your corset. Do it one last time and then hold it there. And can you feel how it's almost like tightening up a corset? You've got a bit more support. You should still be able to breathe. I can still talk, okay? And then when you're ready, you can let it go. And I would then carefully push yourself up to kneeling and then bring your trousers back up. And that alone is a great abdominal exercise. We sometimes think we can't work our abs during pregnancy, but actually they need all the help they can get. Anyway, we're back up in standing kneel now. If you need to kneel on a cushion, if your knees are not happy here, feel free. Find neutral. So stack the rib cage over the pelvis. And then can you guys zip yourself up again? So zip yourself up here and it will feel a bit different because you've not got gravity working in the same way. Arms are by your side. We're going to reach one arm up overhead and we're going to hold it there. And just like earlier on, try not to let it pull you into extension. See if you can stay in neutral. Now inhale, swap the arms over. Exhale to open them out. Inhale, switch, exhale, open. Inhale, switch, and exhale to open. And we're going to keep these arms moving in our cheerleaders here. Now, imagine you've got a glass of water on top of your head. Try not to spill it. So for that, you'll need a little bit of glutes to stop you from hinging at your hips. And you're going to need a little bit of core to stop you from seesawing as your arms move, okay? So opening those arms out, but trying to maintain that neutral position. If you are wiggling around, try zipping up. So try bringing that pelvic floor and that corset into it a bit more, because they're your main stabilizers of the pelvis. So they help keep you still. Let's do 2 more. 1 more. Both arms up, hold them there. And then from here, bring your arms to your side, turn your palms to face backwards, and then I want you to start pulsing these arms back as if you're pushing back on springs, or you're pushing your arms through some treacle or melted chocolate, okay? So I want you to have some imaginary resistance here, almost like you're trying to create a draft. So no floppy wrists, and see again if you can try and keep the rest of the body still. And that's going to require your stabilizers. So that's pelvic floor and transverse or corset muscle, okay? And if this is the first class you've done with me and you're not 100% sure where your transverse is, then don't worry, in the bump plan that is explained. So pulse, pulse, pulse those arms. Again, we're working on the back of the shoulder. Final 4, 3, 2, push back, hold, and then I'd like you to interlace the fingers behind your back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and just take this into a quick pec stretch. So it's kind of a double whammy. We're strengthening the back of the shoulder and then stretching out the front of the shoulder. Lovely, hold it for 3, 2, 1, and then rest. Give your shoulders a wiggle, shake out your wrists. Now we're going to come back down to 4-point kneeling. Another option here, again, if you do not like weight bearing on your arms, you can sit the weight back, you can have your hands in a fist. You could also have your hands a bit higher up. So if you've got like a little footstool or a sofa, that's an option. And if you're happy down here, which not everyone with a bump is going to be, that's an option too. Otherwise, we're up here. Loads of options, basically. Now, find your nice neutral spine again for me. So stack the rib cage over the pelvis. Breathe in, and as you exhale, zip yourself up. So you've got a bit of support around your middle again. Now bend your right knee as if you've got a tennis ball behind it that you don't want to drop. And then on your next exhale, you're going to start to lift that right leg up towards the ceiling without dropping your imaginary tennis ball, and then you're going to hold. So I've taken my right leg up towards the ceiling, and I'm not going to go so high that this happens. If you're back bending, you've gone too far and your abs have checked out. So you'll need to maybe think about zipping up a little bit and not taking your leg as high. Now as you inhale, lower the leg back down towards the floor, do it again. Exhale, lift that right leg towards the ceiling. Inhale to lower the knee back down. So we're moving at the hip here, that right hip. There's a tennis ball, imaginary tennis ball behind the knee, so that's keeping that knee in the same position the whole time. So the only movement here is coming from your right hip, and that is your glutes job, okay? So your glutes are lifting and extending that right hip. We don't want to be moving the spine loads like this, because otherwise that is going to then overload the back muscles. And if your back's doing the job, your glutes don't need to. So they're just going to sneak out of it. We want to try and keep the glutes doing the work here. We're going to do 4 more. Remember, you can always tweak your positioning if you are feeling it too much in those wrists. Last 2. On the last one, we lift the back leg, we hold. Flex your right ankle, so push your heel up, little pulses here, kick the ceiling off your house, and push, push, push. Use those glutes. 4, 3, 2, last one, hold it there. And then when you're done, bring that knee back down. And you have options here. You can take a child's pose with your knees wide, if that's comfortable, but it might not be for all of us. If not, keep the knees hip width, come down onto your forearms and just let your bum stick up in the air. Both of them will give your bum a bit of a stretch and also give your shoulders a rest. Lovely. Sorry, the dog's going mad here. You need to behave, otherwise you have to go in the house. So from here, we're now going to just come to a comfortable seated position before we do the other leg. That might not be that easy after that exercise. So it might be cross-legged. You might want to sit on your pillow if you brought one. You might want your legs out here, here, here. You do what you need to do. We're just going to come into a quick bit of pelvic floor work before we do the other leg, because we always want to sneak a bit of pelvic floor work in during the workouts. So I want you to get nice and comfortable. Try and put your hands on your knees so you can relax your shoulders. And then it might sound strange, but try and relax your jaw. Again, I keep talking about vaginal births. I had a cesarean, so just in case anyone's here thinking, oh, she loves vaginal births. But if you are having a vaginal birth, relaxing your jaw relaxes your pelvic floor. So it's a really easy, simple thing you can do during labour. So if you can all do that now, just try and let your jaw relax. Let your jaw drop, okay? And that's going to help with your pelvic floor work. Then think about your breath, just breathing in through your nose and then gently breathing out through your mouth. And just find that breath. So just a quick bit of education on the pelvic floor. In the bump plan, we're always trying to build on that in each class, but I've only got you for tonight. So when we breathe in, our pelvic floor actually lengthens. Like when you stand on a trampoline, your pelvic floor lengthens to manage the extra pressure created by you breathing in. And as you breathe out, your pelvic floor comes back to normal, like stepping off a trampoline. So I just want you to visualize that first of all. As you breathe in, your pelvic floor will relax and lengthen. And as you exhale, it will come back to neutral. And just keep that going, and that's going to be really helpful postnatally. So if you go on to do the postnatal plan, we do a lot of breath work. So as you breathe in, your pelvic floor is naturally relaxing. And as you exhale, it comes back to normal. Just do that one more time, or focus on that one more time, and then have a quick rest. So now, knowing that the pelvic floor already comes up on an exhale, we want to work with the breath. So we're going to be lifting our pelvic floor on the exhale, because if we did it on an inhale, we're fighting with what the pelvic floor is trying to do. Now today I want you to visualize holding in a poo, holding in a wee, and gripping something with your vagina. So pelvic floor muscles control those three holes, so there should be a closing of those holes and then a lifting. So in a second, when we try and do a pelvic floor lift, I want you to think, squeeze those three holes, lift them off the floor, yeah? So relax your shoulders, relax your jaw, find your breath, visualize that natural movement that the pelvic floor is already doing just by you simply breathing. And then when you're ready on your next inhale, the pelvic floor will lengthen, and as you exhale, let's do it. Let's close those three holes, lift them off the floor, and then try and hold that there for me. Try to keep breathing if you can. If you can't do that, just talk. Tell me what you had for breakfast, because when you talk, you breathe. You've got 3 more seconds, but if you've already lost it, don't panic. 2, 1, let it go. Just breathe a few times, have a quick breather. 10 seconds is a long time, so don't worry if you can't even do half. That's fine. We'll do that one more time. So relax your shoulders, relax your jaw, so you're helping your pelvic floor move. Okay, find your breath. Visualize it moving already just by breathing. Take another big deep breath in, and as you exhale, let's go. Close those holes, lift them off the floor, keep holding if you can. Keep breathing if you can, if not, just talk at me. That means you're breathing. You've got 3 seconds to go if you're still with me. 2, 1, and rest. Have a quick breather. In your everyday life, if you were doing your pelvic floor work, you'd try and do 10 of those and then 10 pulses, okay? Which seems a lot, but every little helps. Now, coming back to those glute kickbacks. So we're back on 4-point kneeling. Think about last time. There are options if this is not comfy. You can do this, you can do your hands and a fist. This time it's your left leg that bends. So we've got this imaginary tennis ball behind our left knee. Zip yourself up just so you're giving yourself a bit of support, so that bump is not so heavy. And then as you exhale, you're going to lift your left leg up towards the ceiling, and I'd like you to hold the first one. So you can think, have I back bended? Have my abdominals stretched even more? Well, if so, I've gone too far and my abs have checked out. We're going to inhale to lower the leg down. We're going to exhale to lift the leg back up. Inhale to lower and exhale to lift. And let's keep this going. So if the knee is staying at the same angle because it's got this imaginary tennis ball, that gives that hamstring something to think about. And then your glute can try to move your left leg. So right now, left bum cheek is lifting that knee. Have a cheeky look down. Are we leaning to the right? Okay, see if you can try and stay a bit more square over your mat. And do we still have a bit of engagement through that core? So have we still zipped up a little bit? Good. If it's too much for the wrists, you can always shift your weight back a bit more or have your hands further forwards. We've got 4 more. 3, exhale to lift. 2, so you know what's coming now. Lift the next one, hold. Flex your left ankle. Kick that ceiling off your house. Pulse it up, 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 lovely. Feel that left bum cheek doing the work. 3 and 2 and hold. Lower the knee down. We've got this option, or we've got a wide knee child's pose. Whichever feels nicer, whichever your body's asking for, go for that. Have a breather. Lovely, you're nearly done, if that helps. And then when you're ready, push yourselves up to kneeling. Now I would stay here just for a sec, so you don't get dizzy. And then when you feel like you're definitely cool, you can come up to standing. And then we're coming into our third round of cardio, and then you're nearly done. So once you're up, no rush, because I've got a demo anyway, have that sip of water. So your final 2 exercises, we've got knee pull. So for this, we'll take a moment in a second to get into position, because setup will be really important. But basically we'll be in a baby squat. So it's not astergrass, it's a bit higher than that. And then we'll shift our weight over to our right foot. And I've got a nice neutral spine. My left leg goes back, my arms go overhead, and I'll need to zip up a bit so my bump doesn't pull me into extension. And then I'm pulling my arms in as I pull my back leg in. Now, obviously this is not going to work for everyone this way. If you've got a big bump, you're going to want some turnout, so you're not bumping your bump. If you've got pelvic girdle pain, you might just want to do the arms and leave the legs on the floor. If you've got backache, you might just want to do the leg and maybe have the hands in prayer. So you can play around with how difficult and how loaded you make it. By the end of it, it should be this standing bum that's on fire. Then we'll do the other leg and then we'll rest, yeah? So 30 seconds, one leg then the other. So let's just make sure our start position sets us up for success. Feet hip width apart and parallel, find neutral. First, we do a 45-degree hip hinge, because we have already practiced that and we've nailed it, yeah? Then from here, imagine you're about to sit down on a stool. So maybe it's a bar stool or something, a kitchen stool. That's probably more appropriate when you're pregnant. So much higher than a squat. Check your lower back, check your positioning. If you need a bit more abdominals, you know how to zip up now. Shift your weight over to your right foot. Take your left leg out behind you and then reach your arms out and hold. Now it's very tempting and easy to end up here, so get those abs involved now. 3, 2, 1. So I pull my left leg in as I pull my arms down. Okay, so it's almost like I'm trying to smack that left knee, again like I'm dancing, line dancing maybe. Nice neutral spine. Now if it's too much for the pelvis, maybe leave the feet on the ground, just do the arms. If it's too much for your back, just do the leg and have your hands in prayer. So there's lots of options, okay? But your right bum cheek should be getting quite hot. 5 seconds to go. And it's 3, 2, 1, swap your legs. So arms extended, right leg is back. You're loaded on your left side. Your core is gently hugging your baby in. So you've got some extra support, otherwise your back is going to have to do it all. Good. Excuse the squeaking. It's honestly my mat, not my bum. Keep it moving. Make sure you're breathing. We've got 5 seconds left. Good. 3, 2, 1, and rest. And definitely keep moving now so that your legs don't seize up. Have a breather, have a sip of water. So again, a lot of the kind of questions we get asked during pregnancy, during exercise, is just a lot of tension in the lower back at the beginning, okay? Again, it's usually because something has to do the work. So if your abs aren't doing the work, your back is gonna have to. But there are ways that we can bias, get down, the abdominals. So if you're here, you're putting your back in a great position to do the work. So take it out of it and tuck a bit so that it's not all in your back. Final toner. So again, it's for those arms, yeah? We're gonna come back to standing in neutral, as always. So take a moment to get ribs over hips. We're then gonna reach the arms out in front of us, palms down at shoulder height. Now from here, I want you, as you exhale, to start bending your elbows, squeezing the shoulder blades together and down behind you. And then inhale, reach the arms back out. Exhale, pull the elbows back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale, bring the arms back out. From the side, my shoulders are moving, but my spine isn't. It's going to be very tempting to do this, okay, which is you trying to compensate. You're trying to avoid actually the right muscles, and so something else has to do the work. And maybe you're used to rowing with really heavy weights, or in the bump plan we use a resistance band here. You can rock if you want to, by the way, guys. But it's also really great to do it with body weight and think about your technique. So you might be able to see a bit better from behind. I should be leading with my shoulder blades. So as much as my arms are moving, the shoulder blades are drawing back and down. So we're building up strength in that upper back. Lovely, excuse me. Sandy, go to bed, go to bed. We've got 4 more of these. Lovely, 3. Can you feel the upper back working? 2. Now on the last one, take it back and hold it there. Stay. Do not pop those ribs forwards. We've still got neutral spine. The movement has come from the shoulder blades. For 3, we should be starting to get tired there. 2, 1, rest. And again, it should make you want to do this, which is fantastic. Give it a wiggle, give it a shake out. So final round of cardio, then it's a cool down, and then we're done. So same as before, get your setup right and you're more likely to do it correctly. So feet hip width, little baby squat. So we've done a hip hinge and a knee hinge. Take a moment to think, am I more here, or am I halfway where I belong? Load up your left leg for me, right leg goes back, arms out in front, take a sec to just engage your core. 3, 2, 1. So the right leg comes in, the arms pull down, and we're loading our left leg. So that left glute is the one that should be tired by the end of this. There might also be a bit of left quad, okay? But hopefully, left bum cheek. Good, we're not bouncing up and down, we're staying low, but we're not locking into that position. There can be a tiny bit of movement here. Good, 5 seconds, then we swap those legs. 3, 2, 1, and switch. Left leg back, pull and pull. So we're loading up that right leg. Good, hopefully that right bum cheek is pooped by now because we've done lots of glute activation. Good, check the ribs aren't flaring. If they are, you might be starting to lean back. Almost done. We've got 5 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Walk around, keep your legs moving. You've only got a very short break, and then we're going straight into our cool downs. Please don't run off yet. The cool down, second to the warm up, is the most important part of the whole class. So as soon as you've had your sip of water, into your cool down, similar to the warm up, but in reverse. We're trying to start hard and cool it down. So start with the knees high, get your ankles moving, really exaggerate it, and have your legs nice and high. Lovely. Slowing down that breath, breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your mouth. And this is a great time to start to slow that breath down. So lengthen the breath and slow it down as well. Good, now reduce that height and speed by half. Okay, so we're doing half the amount of effort. And again, slow that breath down. Lovely. So whilst we're doing our cool down, I'm just gonna answer or basically tell you some of the things that we usually get asked at the end of this class. If you're a bump plan member, you can just enjoy staring into space and just enjoy having a cool down. But just so that you guys don't have to hang around too long at the end, I'll just kind of quickly talk you through it now. Just drop the feet half again, half speed and half height. So the bump plan is a similar concept to this, cardio and Pilates. The difference is your classes were pre-recorded whilst I was pregnant. So when you sign up, you put in how pregnant you are. From here, guys, take the feet as wide as is comfortable in parallel into your gentle skater stretch, nice and slow. So you input how pregnant you are, and the system recognises that, and it assigns you workouts where you're the same pregnancy as I am. And then we go through our pregnancy together, so you always know the workouts you have are specific to what your body needs at that stage, and I would never give you anything that wasn't safe at that stage. Just do 2 more of these, 1 more, and change. Feet a little bit wider than hip width. Now we can still have the hands here, or we can do straight arms, as long as we are not compensating. Stay neutral and move the arm. So you have 6 workouts to do across the week, again, where I'm pregnant with you. And then there's 1 of these a week as well. Reverse the direction, guys, other way. So every week there's an hour-long live class, exactly the same as this, that is just for members. And that gets loaded onto your My Workout page as well. So every week you've got an optional hour-long one. And then rest, feet a bit closer together, single calf raises. But if you want to, you can always do doubles as well. Lovely. And then alongside your workouts, you have access to an education hub that has articles from female experts on topics such as sex during pregnancy, perineal massage, post-birth poo, all the stuff that you might not feel comfortable asking your mum or your friends, and that will help prepare you for labour and motherhood. We're completely unbiased. We don't care how you feed your baby, how you give birth. We just want to support you either way. We're going to do 2 more of these. 1 more, and then give your ankles a rotate, one direction, then the other, have a quick wiggle, have a quick shake out, and that is you done for tonight. So well done those of you who came here live on a Monday evening, when I'm sure it was probably hard to motivate yourself. I'm going to come over and talk to you guys in just a second, so if you've got any questions, please do head to the chat box and start popping them in. There is a discount code that gets you £5 off per month, which takes your monthly membership down to £30, and that is My Bump. All one word, My Bump, and we'll be emailing you tomorrow morning with this recording and that discount code as well. But I'll be over in a second to answer your questions. Otherwise, if you're watching this tomorrow morning, essentially, so later on, I hope that you enjoyed the class. Please do email me if you've got any questions. Enjoy the rest of your pregnancy if I don't see you on the bump plan, and have a lovely rest of the day. Bye.